All right, we're gonna give this a try, day 2. I don't know if this is gonna last. Hopefully they fixed whatever's going on Instagram. How you doing, Fernando?
Oh, doing wonderful, man.
Yeah?
Oh, totally.
Oh, that sounded good. All right, so this is actually day 2. For those of you guys that don't know what's going on, Instagram is just doing some weird stuff right now. And if you caught the show yesterday, you know what we're working on. We're working on a VTEC Honda Civic. It's a rescue from 2 other shops have just done really bad things to this car. I mean, not really bad things. They just, like, I don't know. They just didn't put the effort into it. We're looking at underneath the hood. This is where the fuse holder was mounted, just into this box here. Again, not the end of the world, but okay, cool. So let's kind of go through this again real quick just to fill you guys in. We've taken the whole interior out of the car except for that seat, which is actually out. It's just in, which you'll see in a minute. This door is put back together because we managed to get this done. The radio's out. We pulled everything out. It had these 3 amplifiers in it. It had these 3 JL amplifiers in it. This was not the mount that was in the car. We'll explain that in a minute. It was actually all mounted on this piece right here, and there was a battery, and it was sitting right here in the car, and there was noise and there was all kinds of other things. The reason why the seat is in right now is because it had a Helix processor that was mounted here behind everything, and he's also decided to add an Epicenter. So these are going to get relocated to this area here, far away from the amplifiers, mainly because we don't have room, but they'll fit there, and that's going to be cool. Get all that signal stuff out of the back here. The battery has been relocated to this area here. This bolt is the bolt that is going to hold that amp rack that you just saw in place. So that is why that is sitting there. And this is the top for our fuse holder. So this is the new location for the battery. We made a mount out of ABS and blown PVC. It's screwed into the car in 3 locations. So this thing is super rigid. It's a Shurkin battery, and I wanted to put a window in there so you can see the Shurkin logo. The front is made out of 1/4 inch. The sides are made out of 1/2 inch. I needed that extra room, so I was like, I'm gonna use something thinner. Hey, let's put a window in it. It'll look cool. Bottom fuse, it already has a wire in it. That is this guy right here. This is going to go to that fuse distribution block, which we'll take a look at in a minute. And this is going to go up to the battery. This is going to be the ground for the battery. It's not connected yet. That's why so the battery isn't actually touched, or it's because the battery in the car is disconnected right now. And so that's just sitting there right now. The ground will go somewhere up in this area up here. Fernando is working on the rear deck. We had to pull this out and redo the sound treatment in it because it was really bad. Right now he is working on the tweeters, making adjustments to the pod. So it has 4 Morel Supremo tweeters in it, or Piccolo Supremo tweeters in it. And they use the Supremo mounts, which is this here. It's a cool little fisheye mount. And they attach to this cool little base right here. And there's 4 in the car, 2 in the front, 2 in the back. The problem that we ran into is that they put all their butt connectors and stuff like that inside of the little cup and smashed all these wires in there. It was really bad. So Fernando came up with the idea. We're using the XC connectors. So these are the little tiny guys. Getting rid of all that excess wiring, and they'll fit up into the box. They'll come up through the hole because the rear deck has to go on first, and then we screw them in. So this side is already set, and we're running all new wiring for all 4 of the speakers. He has some hybrid 6.5s that are in the rear deck right now. That's going to be these guys right here. Previously they were just screwed into the metal. They had 4 screws, just boom, drop, big things sticking out the back. They had a bunch of wiring that was just all hanging out around here. So we took all that wiring out, and now it's just hanging. We're going to remove all of this because this has just been hanging like this, but because I keep putting this panel in and out. But this was just all kind of it's just really bad. You can see here those screw holes where they just drilled the really expensive speakers into it. They didn't even use the mount. They left this bracket in here, so the speaker was getting jammed in sideways. It was pretty nasty. He's just test fitting this one. It's not screwed into place yet, so I can do that. So that's what's happening in the back here. Yes, 4 of them. I know, right? 2 front, 2 back. There's going to be another set that they sit right here in the little window and attach to the pod, which we'll show you later once we get to that. We're not even to the front of the car yet. So he didn't want the amps mounted on that amp rack anymore. Do those tweeter connectors come in different sizes? Yes, I'll show you those in a second. So what we've come up with is he had no spare tire. There wasn't one in here, so he's like, can we put the amps in there? I'm like, yeah, if we can get them to fit. So we're going with the Audison connection fuse distribution block. Their 0 gauge comes in here. Our 0 gauge ground will come around and come along here. And then this is the 1200.1, 600.4. And then the second 600.4 is gonna sit right here. As you can see, the wire is already routed. So all our signal, all our speaker wires coming along this side. Next will be the power, and then once the power goes in, I'll put the 3rd amplifier into place and route that wire along with it. Just trying to get all of this back end side done. This is the mount for the factory screw. So this is all one piece. That's actually an inch thick at this area. Because obviously the post is a little bit lower than what this needs to be, so that big bolt will go in here. It countersinks a little bit so we can get enough twists on it, and then this whole thing locks into place. But yeah, so we made it 2 layers like this because obviously to fit. So that's what's happening in that. That passenger door is not, we haven't started on that door yet. We kind of had to move from this door to the rear deck, and then we'll go over there. But as far as those connectors go, yes, and I believe these are on DNF tool drawer. Yeah, they are. They're on DNF tool drawer. So here are the little tiny guys that he's using for the tweeters. And then here is the next size up, which would be like good for a mid-range. And then here is the 3rd side if you need something for a subwoofer. So yeah, there's 3 different sizes for those. But you can find those on dnftooldrower.com. I know, right? We're thinking of you guys all the time. Compared to what was yesterday, LOL. Yeah, yesterday this was really bad. So some of the things that we haven't had time to address yet is like, this is how it showed up. This is clearly where the factory amplifier was, and the wires were just stripped, and it came in just like that. So we'll clean this up. Mainly just because if any mechanic sees this, they're gonna freak out. It's not an integral part of the car. There's literally nothing hooked up to any of these wires anymore, but we don't want to leave it like that because it just looks terrible. The other weird thing is you guys ask us about running wires through the doors all the time. And the Hondas are typically, especially some of the newer ones, it's not the end of the world to get a wire through here. So if you can run a wire through the boot, obviously you do. In this case, they didn't do that. I mean, they could have grabbed the wires right here, but they didn't. They cut the harness, which is what we would do if we can't run through the boot. So this is a good example of doing that. But in this car, it wasn't totally necessary. You could just go through the boot. So we'll clip these off, clean this up, put the tape back over this harness, and get this put back to as close to factory as we can. And then this is the radio. As you can see, there's wires everywhere, so we'll have to solder that harness back together and plug in a normal harness into it so that it can, we can plug in and out. The problem that we ran into when we were taking this car apart, naturally you want to disconnect anything that has power. So you have the front battery, you have the back battery, and then they ran power and ground for the DSP. Of course, pull the radio out, come to find out there's no clip, there's no plug, it's just hardwired into it. So it was like, oh, this sucks. So we had to, then stop what we're doing there and remove all that wiring out of the car so that we could continue with the disassembly of it. So use a harness, moral to the story. So those are all little tiny things that will have to be fixed and put back to normal. But those little pods that we're talking about, so these, those little Supremo Piccolo pods. So as you can tell, this is made for the Morel. That's what these little dimples here. This isn't just like something he found at Home Depot in the garden center. This is specifically Divine, and they have different versions of it because this version is different than what is going to go into the front. That actually has like a 1/4 20 thread in it, so it's pretty cool. But yeah, these are nice tweeters. So kind of a shame the way they kind of did them dirty. Luckily, they didn't damage them in any way, so that's nice. We'll keep that like that. And then for the mid bass in the front door, it has a set of...
For the mid bass?
Yeah, Elates. Thank you. Sorry, it's been a long day. Are those Elates already? Are those Elates in already? The Elates...
The driver's side is in.
The driver's side is in and done. The passenger side is in, but... no, wait a minute.
No, the passenger side is not in.
What is this?
This is the...
This is the hybrid.
Yeah.
This is the hybrid. We haven't taken the passenger door apart yet.
So he had 2 sets of hybrids. One in front, one in back.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
We have the Elate over here.
Yeah, we have the
I
other
forgot.
one, Elite, over here. And
Is it in that box?
This box.
That box. Yeah, so I forgot. He had hybrids in the front door. We took those out and we put in a set of Elates that he has here in this big piece of foam, which Fernando will open up for us. And then you guys can see the difference between a hybrid and an Elate, because there is a subtle difference. They're very similar but different, right? Isn't that the way it goes?
It looks the same,
but different.
but they different. Oh,
And these are the previous version of the Elates. The new Elate is, of course, the Elate Carbon. Obviously, it'd be made out of carbon. What are you doing? This is what I have to deal with here. Now he thinks he's a garden gnome.
A what?
A garden gnome.
Okay.
This is the most time you've ever taken it. Now, if this was mine, you would have just gone at it like a mad fiend. Yep.
Oh, dude, man. These beautiful speakers.
I know.
You gotta take time.
I know. I have a set of these too.
Yes, you do.
Yeah.
I hate you.
Wow, that's hurtful. Take the grill off. All right, so let me grab. So this is the hybrid, and this is the Elate. So you can kind of see it's very similar, but clearly, all right. So the voice coil here, let's turn it sideways. So this has a smaller voice coil. This is a 2.1 inch. This is a full 3-inch voice coil. Magnets on Morels are inside the voice coil. So different size. You can see clearly there, much bigger.
Oh, dude, like you can clearly.
But
see.
the basket is very similar.
Basket is very
So
similar.
think if they took an Elate and a Virtus and they combine the two, you get the hybrid. It's but it's very similar construction. Just the Elate is obviously a much bigger animal than that. And to differentiate them more, of course, they polish the front ring. You get a huge dust cap on the front of it. The cone is much bigger, obviously, because of the size of the voice coil that's in that thing. But both very awesome speakers for sure. But yeah, that's what you got. Hey, Johnny, no kidding. Long time no see. Same but different. What's up, guys? Been waiting to ask. Morel hybrid tweeters are 130 millimeter 6 ohm. I have audio control D6-1200. Should I bridge channels to give the tweeters best power? Amp is rated 125 at 4 ohm per channel. I mean, typically, no. Like, if we were doing a 6-channel and we were going to plan on going active, we would definitely not bridge for the tweeters at all. We've done plenty of Morels on those amplifiers, and it's just, channel 1 and 2 in tweeters, 3 and 4 on mid bass. If you wanted to go crazy and you're going to go passive, then I could say yes, but I still wouldn't. That amplifier is just not fun to bridge. It doesn't like it. It's not that it doesn't have the power. It's more the interface between the between the DSP and the amplifier. But you don't need to do that on that. Like, it's plenty of power. 6 ohms is fine. Trust me. You're going to have plenty of sound coming out of those. You will not be disappointed at all. Not in the least.
No. What's up,
No bridge
Oscar?
those tweeters. I can't think of any scenario where I bridge an amp to a set of tweeters ever. Like, no, it wouldn't do that ever. Like, that's an insane amount of power. Dean, what's up? Can ACM 4.300 run 3 ohm speakers, JBL Infinities? Yes, it can. So That's actually a very common question we get, and I feel like maybe we should make that the fundamentals this week. Talking about odd ohm loads and speakers, and will the amplifiers do them or not? That's a great idea. What do you think? You like that one? I like that one. We're going to make that a fundamentals this week because I hadn't decided on what it's going to be, but we will definitely make that the fundamentals. But the answer to the question is yes, and it's actually an easy question to answer. You want to look at the minimum ohm load and the maximum ohm load. The minimum ohm load that it can run down to is 4 ohm mono, 2 ohm stereo. The maximum ohm load you'd ever want to put on it, of course, is, and there again, these are backwards, but the bigger number, smaller number. I know this is why it gets confusing, but 4 ohms would be what it's normally. It can play down to 2 ohm. 3 ohm is between there. So as long as you're not going below 2 ohm with, let's say, a 1 ohm, then you're golden. But stay tuned to fundamentals on Monday, and we'll go more in depth on that if that's even possible. We'll have pictures. That's always cool. Yes, I'd run K2s. I bet. Oh, yes, K2s are awesome.
Yeah.
And the nice thing about running K2s on like an audio control amp is the audio control amp was actually built with the idea that it was going to run at 2 ohm all day long. So K2s are 2 ohm.
2 ohm? Yeah.
You get a lot of power out of those
You
things.
get tons of power.
You didn't pay for all that power. That's usually what happens when we run those. Morels or Hertz, Milli Legend, mid bass. I mean, it really just comes down to what you're looking for. I mean, they're both awesome. I mean, naturally, I'm gonna pick Morel. I mean, that's one of the questions you always ask. I'm gonna pick Morel because I love Morel. I mean, I just, like that cabinet says Morel. That one says Morel right there. There's Fernando's Morel. It's they're mine. You know, that's my speaker. I love those things. They're amazing. They do everything I need them to do. There again, the Hertz are also sexy, badass speakers. So it's a tough question. It's a tough question for sure.
And you're not going wrong with either brand.
Eric, Chimp Bo Sounds says it's the best. Eric, I'll go Hertz if you like it loud. And that's to some regards true, but there again, not so much. I would have said that, but dude, I swear to God,
those hybrids, they go loud.
Oh, they get stupid loud.
Yeah.
Pepsi or Coke? Oh no, God, Pepsi.
Whoa.
Morel is not Pepsi. No. But yeah, that's a whole nother. Dude, people will kill. Like, people would rather drink toilet water than drink Pepsi in some cases. I mean, it's like
I don't want to do that.
I don't want to do that either. I'm just saying, I've known people where it's like, I'll take a Diet Coke. We have Diet Pepsi. And they're like, I'll take a water. You know?
I would take the water.
Yeah. You know, it's like, I'll take a water. So, yeah.
Yeah, oh, totally.
Similar but different. Morel is Dr. Pepper. Caffeine free. The best. The Bucks. The Bears.
The Bears?
The Bears. That was a Saturday Night Live skit from a long time ago. It was way before your time.
Oh, okay.
It's okay, man. I understand.
I'm younger, dude. I'm just 20 years old.
You're not 20 years old. Are you gonna put like Roadkill on there and cover that? Oh,
yeah.
very nice. Very nice.
Here, Roadkill here.
Analogy, not meant literally. I know what you meant. It's okay. It's okay. We know. It's all right. But still, don't ever make that comparison again. That's terrible. You should be ashamed of yourself. What do you think of Blam Audio Signature Series 3-way components? I gotta tell you right now, we haven't done a lot with Blam, but the stuff we have done with Blam and everything I've heard from Blam, I have not been disappointed.
No.
It has been a pleasure every time we've done one. I can't speak to like, oh my God, you gotta, but I can just tell you that every time we've had the experience of either A, putting them in a car, or B, listening to a car that had them, it's been a joyous thing. So I would not feel bad. I feel confident in telling you that, yes, if you're interested in those, you're not making a bad decision.
Yeah. Yep.
They haven't disappointed me at all. And Oscar right there would be there, yes. He knows more than we do. He's done a lot more of them than we have. So yeah.
They sound really nice.
Yeah, I have not been disappointed. And honestly, it was something we looked at,
dude,
if we should carry it, but I don't think we have that room.
The speakers that we did, they were awesome.
The new Focal Flex Evo is nice. The fact that you're still calling them new means that, like, because they're not really new anymore. They're almost like 2-3 years old at this point. But yes, they're spectacular. Even those little subs are phenomenal. Oh, the blam things? Yeah, thank you. How much power will his late hybrids be getting? So he has the JL Audio 6.4 is 2 of those. So each channel, there's 8 channels, there's 8 speakers, so each one is going to get a channel of the 600.4 JL amplifier HD. I have no idea how much it is. I'm not, it was what it was playing with before. So whatever, internet, type it, figure out how much it does at 4 ohm. I'm sure it's plenty. It's more than he's going to need. I can tell you that right now.
We need 3,000 watts for the tweeters.
Yeah, all the powers. He's getting all the powers.
All the powers.
All the powers. I need a haircut. I don't know.
I need a haircut.
It gets puffy on the sides. I got to get a hair. I'll cut my hair tonight. That's my plan.
Hopefully a haircut.
Everyone needs a hair. Who's got time for haircuts? Haha, because some places still have the old ones. According to the scary news, you better get your haircuts now, man.
Why?
Well, because if the D gets all up in there, man, they might have to close everything back down again. Even if we all went ahead and got...
You become a barber now?
Yeah. I've been a barber for years now. Have calls. It's 150 RMS per channel on that. Oh, there you go. That's plenty of power. Oh my God, that is a ton of freaking power. Yeah. You don't need all that power. I can tell you that right now.
Nope.
So when the car came in, there was a couple problems right off the bat that we had. So for those who are just tuning in, it's the Civic. One of the main problems was his biggest complaint, which I thought was weird. His biggest complaint, there was a turn-off pop or turn-on pop. There was a turn-on pop. When you turned it on, there was a tremendous pop. And we immediately figured out after a long 10 or 15 minutes, which is immediately in our world, that they were running everything off of a remote turn-on relay behind the radio instead of using the remote turn-on out on the DSP. That's okay. So, pro tip of the day, even though Bobby's not here, pro tip of the day. If you have a DSP, doesn't matter which one, because everyone that I've worked with has had them, is it has an in and an out. Let me grab this cool Helix right here so I can get a nice picture of it and show you guys what I'm talking about. The reason for that is that a lot of DSPs have delayed turn on and off times so that the DSP can either A, turn on before it turns on the amplifiers, or turn off, or do all these things. So they give you some kind of control. And this you have right here where it says remote in, remote out. They were running no remote out to turn on these amplifiers. So what would happen is everything would turn on at once and you'd hear pow. It was like, holy crap. So once we figured that out, we immediately just disconnected it, ran our remote turn-ons into this, and the remote turn-on pop went away. There's still a slight slight tick when it turns off, which is, there again, it's kind of normal. But the other problem, which I thought was weird that we didn't even mention, was there's a ton of engine noise. Oh my God. Like, it was like, I was like, whoa. So hopefully when we redo everything, that will have solved that problem. But it was playing when it came in, so we were able to do some preliminary problem solving on it, which is cool. Yes, Helix DSP Pro. They adjusted like 3 bands. I think the biggest adjustment they did was on like one speaker had 3 bands that was adjusted.
Dude, that was insane.
I was like, oh wow, they went overboard. Nice. 2000 Tahoe added a big 3 upgrade, new battery, but still getting headlight dim. Only pushing about 1500 RMS. Any suggestions? All right. This is one of the big misconceptions of the big 3 upgrade that I've always wanted to address, but people don't want to hear that. What is it? Yeah. All right. Put this back in there. All right. Now, we'll use this as an example because this is an engine. I have a battery up underneath the hood here. I have an alternator. It's factory. It's over here. Boom, right there. This little guy right here. All right. Now, this has a big 3 done in it. So we got you can see all this giant wire draped all over the place. And, all right. This alternator puts out about 80 amps of current. Do you think for 1 minute that the manufacturer did not think that it needed to get all of 80 amps of current from this point to that point? It knew that when it designed the wiring harness for this car, that all of that power needs to get to this battery somehow, all right? So if there's an 80 amp alternator in a battery and I change it to a 0 gauge, do you think I'm getting any more power here? No, I'm only getting 80 amps, all right? How you can think about that is if you have current from a faucet. You turn on a faucet and you put out a small drip of water going into a pool. So it's just a little drip. If I unscrew that hose and I put a 5-inch hose on it, okay, I'm still dripping the same amount of water out of that 5-inch hose. I'm not getting any more water over that. I have the potential to, but I'm not, because I've only got a little drip coming out of that alternator. So doing a big 3 is wonderful, all right? It's a great idea. I'm not saying not to do it. I'm just saying the realistic expectations of it are up here when the reality is more like down here. If you want your lights to not dim at nighttime, turn the stereo down when you're sitting at a stoplight. Make sure that the battery is of a decent age, meaning it's under 2 years old. And realize that, like, your car is only made to power so much stuff. Yeah. If you don't want your headlights to dim, the only way to do that is with a fully charged battery and a bigger alternator, so that you have the current to run that system. Even though it's only a 1500 watt system, which is still a good minimum 150 amps of current draw, where's that coming from? You know, if your ball's out full tilt boogie sitting at nighttime with the air conditioning going, the headlights on, and everything happening in the car, you're tapping out. That alternator is full out all the way it can do. It's not giving you any extra current just because you're asking it to. It's not going to do that. So the suggestion would be, for one, how are you charging that second battery? If new battery. All right, so you don't have a second battery. So add a second battery.
That's it.
So adding the second battery will increase the capacitance, which means when you're rolling, it's going to hopefully charge some, like, because not every time you're going balls to the wall. So that any extra current that could be going somewhere, it'll go that. And two, if you charge it at night or get a big MechMan alternator for that car, you'll be golden. What happened? What harness pack was making that they stopped production on? Well, they were going to make standalone ANC mic harnesses, and they decided not to, but then they did package them in with Sub Pro. So if you buy the new Sub Pro stuff, those do come with the ANC harnesses. But anyways, that's that. Kick around mats tonight. Here you go, Bobby. Audis are usually stock 150 amp alternators. Way to go. Go Audi. Key 501 will be good for that 8-inch sub. Yes. I'm back. Amp recommendations for... Okay, yeah, that was that. Kicker key would work. I say as I'm playing with my Helix. Are we going to see a Helix build from you guys anytime, or is that car getting a Helix? The car is getting a Helix. As far as us doing a Helix build, we're not a Helix dealer. So it would be something that someone would have to bring in. We're not filming this one because I didn't feel like it, and we didn't have time. I don't know. But I would love to do a full Helix build. Yeah. I think that would be fun. I'd like to do like the 4-channel all-in-one and the mono block. What does Jeff have? Or what did he have? Like, to me, that system would be pretty cool. Like the pictures you just put up of that little 8-channel or 6-channel. That was really cool. But yeah, no, one day. There's always a day.
Dreaming.
You know, if anything, we could get some of the stuff in and at least do a, put it in your car, do a lab with it. Yeah. That would be fun.
Anything.
Have you done any Q50s? I don't know. Have you done any Q50s?
We had a subwoofer in the Q50. That's
okay. So we've done a sub. You said haircut, mohawk. Ooh, no.
Mohawk.
Nah. Is the anniversary Epicenter the new tiny one? No. Okay, there you go. Good question. Love that. A lot of misconception about that. There's going to be the new Epicenter Micro, not Mini, Micro. I called it Mini, so I made that mistake too because it's small. The new Epicenter Micro is replacing a previous Epicenter that most people didn't even know existed, which was an Epicenter with high level to low level input, as well as RCA input. It is coming out. It's built in the same size chassis as an LC2i Pro. It might even be smaller. But either way, that is going to be its own product.
Yeah.
The anniversary edition is going to be based off of the tried and true Epicenter that is currently available. That is not changing. They're not changing that at all as of right now. They're just going to redo it. So for those of you curious, this is an original Epicenter right here. And what they're going to do is they're going to go to the brushed metal that they have on the LC2i, 1i, and the new Micro. That'll be this. This will be black. I think the stripe is also black. I think this stays white, and then they'll have their little goofy guy with the mouth open that'll also be on there. It'll say anniversary edition, but it is going to be built off of this. These lights are all going to be blue, and then it'll be one of 5,000, so they'll all be numbered, and there's no chance in this God's green earth you're going to get number 1, because as we found out, there's either going to be 3 number 1s or 3 zeros. I don't know, I don't remember what Matthew told me, but Matthew, Chris, and Alex, I was breathing, sorry, are getting those, and that's it. So they're not taking requests, although Fernando has his heart set on number 13.
I need that. That's it.
So we'll see what happens there.
I'll fight you for that.
The auto EQ in a Helix is insanely good for what it is. I love my V8 Mark II with the Kappa Perfect. Yeah, oh, no doubt. Need to find time for proper tune. Yeah. When I use the key lock, I use the DD1 to set the gain output. I can put all the way up without distortion. Did I do something wrong? Not necessarily. The thing you have to keep in mind, if you're using the key lock, you should, there again, listen to what it sounds like. If it sounds fine, then you're good. If it doesn't sound fine, don't believe the hypes, or the lights in this case. So, there's been times where we've set things up and it's like, there's no way that is not clipping. There's no way. We can literally hear it clipping. So the frequency that the distortion detector was tuning to, or listening at, which is 1,000 or 40, those frequencies might not be clipping, but everything else around it was just, stop. So, yeah, sometimes you do have to verify with your ears what the heck is going on. Mm-hmm. I'll buy the Micro. Well, of course you will. Spike. Yes, Spike is the guy. Sorry.
Spike is in there.
Full Helix build in Sue's car. Actually, her car was supposed to get a full Audison build.
Yeah.
But, the likelihood of that happening is probably equally as hard to believe.
Yeah.
It's like, man, we just don't have time. Oh, a ton of Marvel movies coming out? Yeah, we did watch Black Widow. That was awesome. As you know, we reviewed that.
What was the new movie that has like a... I don't know, man.
Shang-Chi?
I think so.
Yeah, Shang-Chi, I think, is the next one. Shang-Chi and the...
What is that one from?
It's a comic. It's another one of the comics. Yeah. It's, hey, it's whatever.
I'm young. No.
How many items could you remote turn on with the DSP before you run into problems? Okay, so that would just depend on that would just depend on how much amperage output that 12-volt circuit has. Most amplifiers need a half an amp to turn on, so 0.5 milliamps is usually what it says. If it has a 3 or 4 or 5 amp turn on, basic math would tell you it could do like 10 things. Most DSPs should be able to handle the amount of channels they're going to have, so you got to figure... Oh, the Eternals. That's the other one. Most DSPs should be able to handle 3 or 4 amplifiers or 3 or 4 things. Where you can get into some trouble is if you're turning on an accessory power with a remote power. Don't ever do that because, like if you're trying to do a fan. If you're going to do a fan or lights or something, those need to be on a relay triggered off the remote turn on, not the remote turn on. So that's usually where people screw those up. The remote turn on triggers are typically, they don't need a lot of current. But yeah. What is best wiring that majority of all head units will have? Wait, hold on. What are the basic wiring that majority of all head units will have need?
We have a video on that.
Actually, we just did a fundamentals explaining every single wire.
About you wiring?
Yeah, about every single wire color, what everything. But I mean, nowadays, it's tricky. You know? Yeah, it's tricky. Black aluminum next year, I think. Okay, yeah, sure. Venom 2. Oh, yeah.
Venom 2 is good.
Yeah, that's not DC. I mean, that's DC, not Marvel.
Yeah. But still.
Metro has new speaker brackets for the VW. They're nice. Ooh, the 82, 90, 10. Let's see if Paul's ordered those. So, all right, let's see what we got here. Wonder Woman sucked. Yes, Wonder Woman did suck. That was a total disappointment. What are you guys working on? So we're working on a Honda Civic that we've been talking about, redoing the whole system. Subscribe to Dean and Fernando's car stereo clips. Yes, the car stereo clips is where the fundamentals are, which is where we keep a lot of that information. I honestly have no idea which one of those I would buy.
Which one?
The Sound Mirage mid-range. Why did I say Mirage? Oh, geez. Because I was...
Mid-range?
Yeah, sounds mid-range. Honestly, I don't know. I don't think I've ever heard either one of those. Yeah, I don't know. But anyways, all right, listen. Friday at 6:30 Eastern Standard Time, we're going to have these guys right here. German Maestro in the house. They'll be here. We're going to be talking with them. It's a special show. It's not going to interfere with any of the other shows we do. So we will have them here. We're going to get the history of German Maestro, which I think is the most important thing, is getting the history of who they are, what they're doing, where they're from, because it's the original MB Court. And I want to know why. I want to know what the heck happened. I want them to explain it to you guys so that you won't ask me, because I don't know. That's their job. We're going to talk. What's that?
I said Jeff is coming in 5 minutes.
Oh, we're going to talk all about that kind of stuff there. So that will be Saturday. That'll be Friday. Saturday we'll do a normal show, so you can ask all your questions about the normal stuff. So let's just sit back, relax, and enjoy Friday. Let's just look at it as a bonus that it is, and we'll learn all that cool stuff about German Maestro, see if it's the speaker brand for you. In case you guys are worried, well, we finally moved this up into its new spot. So it got its place of glory really high up on the wall. And let me tell you, that was a pain in the ass.
So if you're gonna advertise, please.
Yes, if you'd like to advertise your brand on the wall, we do have an opening. The banner will be down soon.
Please send you email to Car Stereo Talk.
All right, hold on.
I got it.
Which one comes first, DSP with an Epicenter or an Epicenter with a DSP? Ooh. So that's a tough one. Because, you know, the problem is like we originally had the Epicenter amplifiers, all right? So right here is the Epicenter 600. There's my Epicenter 600. So it's a 600 watt amp with an Epicenter built into it. And the problem was, it just cost-wise, it just was totally wrong. Because an Epicenter, you know, it's a couple $100. So it just didn't work out. I have asked why we don't have an Epicenter in the, you know, DSP. Instead, we have the Acubase. And I feel like Acubase and DSP are going to, because not every car needs Acubase now. Every car in the DSP is becoming a kind of a thing. Like, we need that in some cars now because it's not just bass roll-off, it's just EQ'd like crap. Hey, can you take your amps?
Oh, sure. Yes.
We were just talking about Helix and Funness. But anyways, all right, well, fun's over, guys. The principal's here, and we got to get back to work.
Back to work.
All right. So don't forget to tune in this Friday. We'll have 6:30 Eastern Standard Time. We'll have them on. Of course, we'll be on tomorrow to tell you all about it. You guys have a great rest of your day. Fernando.
Bye, guys.
Say it one more time.
Bye, guys.
There you go. You okay?
It's been an interesting day.
It has been an interesting day.
Yeah.
There he is. There's the little Fernando. He's having a rough day today. He's got a little sickness, which is why Big Fernando sounds
Yeah, exactly.
crappy. Oscar, what's going on?
What's up, brother?
So hola amigos. Anyways, he'll be back. The Civic is done. The IV Tech. We actually, we got it done. So the battery's just doing its thing. Or it was doing its thing. Oh no, it's doing its thing. The little light's on. So the light's on. Making sure it's topped off. We've been tuning it. Let's take a look at what Fernando came up with here. And so before it was mounted to those two screw holes there, we came up with our bracket, which a little bit nicer, as it were. That way, you know, it's just not attached to the cold air intake, which may need to be serviced or come out or something like that. This, you just pull this one bolt. We use two bolts. We use the existing factory bolt, and then we put a second bolt on top of it. So even if you remove this and pull it up, you're not, like, you don't have to worry about those stupid long bars just disappearing. See, don't they look a lot alike? Look at that. He's almost as tall as you.
Say, what's up?
What's up?
Yeah, what's up, guys?
What is it?
What's up, guys?
Yeah, come on, do your YouTube intro.
How do you say?
Come on, man. Do it. Do the YouTube intro. Come on, we'll do it together. Come on over here. Come on over here. We'll do it together. I'll even get down. We'll do the YouTube intro together. Stand up, stand up, stand up. Come on. Ready? Ready? We'll do ours. Ready? Good morning, guys, and welcome. You go. Come on. Say good morning, guys. You can do it.
Good morning, guys.
All right, now do it without the phone in your mouth. Ready?
Good morning, guys.
Gotta have. Good morning, guys. Do it. Come on.
Good morning, guys.
Perfect. Welcome to the show.
Welcome to the show.
Close enough. Give me 5. Don't touch me. You're stick. Anyways, all right. Enough playing around. Let's take a look at the rest of this. I know you guys want to see what's going on in the back. So here we go. Let me grab a light. Ooh. Here's the light. All right. I always love when we're done, you can see all the little dead zip ties just scattered all over the place. All right. There we go. So this is the subwire that you see draped over here. And this is what we ended up with in the back. You guys kind of saw the beginning of the amp rack going in. This is screwed into where the spare tire would normally be. We have the 1200, the 604, the 604. The reason why we separated them like this, obviously, is because that allowed us to put all the signal, which is what you see wrapping right here. It comes up and goes up this side of the car. All the power is on this side of the car. So the only thing, and then that.
That's the bass knob.
That's the bass knob. Just like in a Mustang, we know the bass knob is not going to do this loop up and around. So fortunately, from the guys that did this last time, there was actually a groove there from their wire. So we were able to tape our wire into their groove. And then there was a groove here. So the box won't sit on it, rub it, or do anything like that, which is kind of nice. The battery's in place. We have our front battery, our loop out to down here. Ground is in place using the positive ground, positiveground.com, something like that. And that's what you end up with for the power. 4 gauge going off to these, 0 gauge coming over into here, doing some twisty action. We went with a riser up. It's about 1.5 inches up so that they would all fit, so we could stack them side by side. But there's the amplifiers. So this one is for rear, and what we did is we obviously ran green and purple, and then for our tweeters, we put a yellow strip on them, and then we did the same thing in the back here. So we know that this is rear mid bass, and this is rear tweeter. When we run the wires, when we make our twisted pair, it's always green, gray, white, or purple main color, but then we'll switch the ground. So like black is usually main, blue is usually like a mid-range or a mid-bass, and then yellow or red, preferably yellow. I'm sorry, yellow or orange, my bad. Yellow or orange will be, because red would always confuse Fernando and he'd think it was a positive, so we switched to yellow or orange depending on whichever one we have. So then we know when we look at that yellow stripe means tweeter. The rears we always leave naked. You just always leave them naked. Subwoofer runs butt naked no matter what. Dual 12 gauge run out. This amplifier, which was funny, on the last install they had tried to squeeze all the wires into 2 terminals, which was dumb because they give you 4, so we ran all 4. This is the box that he bought. It's got the acrylic on it. This looks awesome. The box is built. The thing that I don't like, and I know why they did it, because the port does this L shape here, but they should have put the speaker cups here.
Or in the back, whatever.
Well, you couldn't put them in the back because of the port. It has a giant L port.
I tried to figure it out, but
The sides would have been fine. The bottom is stupid. They put the ports on they put the speaker cups on the bottom. They did try to put a little groove right here, but we know this box is gonna slide around and the wire's gonna get pinched, so we added this 1/2-inch riser onto it so that that won't be a problem. Plus, you know, when you do this, you can kind of see the little nipples right there. But it's a gorgeous box. That's my only complaint about this, and it does sound awesome.
Yeah.
What's up, guys? Change to higher up camera. I swear, y'all. Oh, thank you. All right, let's head inside.
Yeah.
We'll start here in the back. So he has a set of Supremo tweeters with their mounts located here and here. And then he has a set of hybrids mounted up underneath. Fastenings on front, fastenings on there. This piece of foam on the back side of the fastening isn't doing anything. It just looks really nice. It adds a layer of what I think is just, it adds a finishing touch. It's not doing anything acoustically, but you know, when you look into the car, this one's the best. You know, you don't see a speaker hanging down, you see a nice trim ring. So to me, I was like, they aren't gonna do anything, but they just look nice. Those shoes, yeah, that's them. Anyways, so that's the rear. And then for the front, he went with a set of the Supremos in a different mount, but the same, located up here in the front. And there's that's where they were when we got it. He's got the Alpine in there. The bass knob used to be up here, really hard to get to. Since we added the Epicenter, we had these 2 knockouts right here, so we added the bass knob is on the outside and the Epicenter is here. It's fun to play with. He sits pretty close to the steering wheel, so it's a nice, I was having a fun time because I'm like, ooh yeah, a little Epicenter action. Bass gets crazy.
Elates.
I don't know why I can never remember Elate, and I own 2 sets of them. But we have the Elate mid bass here, fast rings, roadkill, all that fun stuff. We ran new wire into the door, and all the wiring. So the tweeter wire, the mid-range wire, new wiring all comes over here into this kick panel. So this comes down here, this comes through the boot. And so the main connection for all of the speakers up front is in this kick panel. And then for the rears, which I think Fernando was doing when we started, the rear, all the wiring moves across the car this way, and behind that cushion there is the plug to remove the rear deck wiring. Because there's really no point in using the factory stuff. And then of course, if you remember, underneath the seat was a mess. We taped that all up and got that on. I don't want to slide the seat because we've already measured it back into place, and I don't want to have to line it. You can't see it. But we taped all that back up. We soldered in a new harness yesterday before we left so that it's now plugs in. And Fernando just went up front with Junior. So I think that's it. How old is your boy? He's getting ready to go into kindergarten. So however old that is. He starts in, like, I think next week is first day of kindergarten. Those parents remember that? Ooh, crazy, right? Ooh, I know, a heartache. But anyway, so this is done. We didn't do this we didn't do. But we did roadkill the rear deck and the doors. So sound treatment's on point. Dina ordered heat shrink 3. It should shrink down enough to speed. Yeah, I think you'll be okay. Yep. Is wiring one side of 1 amp and the other side to another amp a good set? Wait, is wiring one side to 1 amp and one side to the left. I don't like doing odd ohm loads. So if you were gonna have, let's say, matching tweeters, matching mids, yeah, I don't see any reason why you couldn't do that. But I prefer, like, if I have two tweeters. So I mean, I could have done, but then I have front and rear issues. So yeah, I need the gain controls to work properly, is really what it comes down to me. I know I can do individual gain control through the DSP, which reminds me, I didn't show you the DSP. Fernando, could you slide that seat forward for me? But still, I don't want to have to do weird things with the gain.
What do we need?
Could you slide this? I'll get it now.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's okay. It's all right. That's all right. All right. Oh, I gotta put the seat bolts in. Oh, why am I? All right, still on facing me. All right, so here you go. Here is the DSP and the Epicenter in place. We made an amp board to mount those in. All the wires are zip tied up. The RCAs, as you can kind of see there on the side where the Epicenter is, we pulled the center console out because we had all the seats were out of the car. So the wiring goes up through the center console. There's a main wiring harness, all zip ties up and goes into the radio. And then as we said, the RCAs come up to the front and loop back around and come into this side of the amplifier there, or the DSP there. You can see those yellow for tweeters. The one nice thing and bad thing is I was hoping to use 12-foot RCAs to come from the front of the car to here, and it was like 14 feet, which sucks because now it's like, oh, we got to use a 17-footer. So what that meant was we were going to have to shrink the wire, which is fine. But some of the techniques, because obviously everyone always wants to run wire the shortest way possible. But once we weren't stressed for wire, obviously this is going to be the longest one. So we took a piece of remote turn on and we taped it all into place to figure out how long it was. So once we found out it was a minimum 14, we're like, okay, we got to use 17. So that means you can come along here with the RCA. It has to come up along in here, go, and then because of this pocket, you want to make sure that it goes in far enough this way, and then it's going to come up, over, down, around, over, and up through the car. The best place to run it is through this area here, not down here, because of the seat bracket where that's at. You don't want to be anywhere near that because that moves. So now you have the extra wire to come along here. And then how they do it in this is you come up all the way and then you come back. So you just kind of come forward to turn around and go back. And once you use the longer RCA, what we ended up with is about, believe it or not, about a foot of extra wire. And so we taped the whole harness up. And then what we were able to do is in this area where there was more room, we were able to put a bend in the wire so that that extra wire wasn't going to be like tucked up underneath the seat. And it's a nice big loop, unlike I don't like bundling the RCAs because I don't want to create a big wiring harness of nightmare that could attract noise or anything like that. So I like to keep it stretched out as much as possible. This area gave us the ability to do that because there's a big open chamber here. So we were able to loop that foot of extra wire that we needed. So even though we only needed 14, 17 worked, and because we stretched the wire out, and we're able to do a much nicer, in my opinion, layout for the wiring. So sometimes going with the bigger wire, you got to kind of, take that extra time and really get it into every groove and snake it and zip tie it and do all the beauty stuff that you guys like, instead of just tying it up into a big bundle and stuffing it somewhere. All right, Panama City in the house. FYI, those tweeter connectors ain't on the site. Oh, well, shoot, Fernando.
What?
The tweeter connectors aren't on the site. I will take care of that this weekend. The yellow connectors that we showed, the 15s, the 30s, and the 45s. I'm sorry, I thought they were. I will take care of that this weekend. I have some other stuff I need to do on the website anyway, so I'll put links up there to that stuff. Do you do the auto tune on the Helix DSP Pro or just manually with an RTA? Also, to do the auto tune left and right individually. So he's got an Alpine radio on here. I don't have the Helix microphone to do the RTA portion of the auto-tune, so to speak. So the only auto-tune it's capable of doing out of the box without the microphone is to de-equalize, which we don't need to do because we're using an Alpine head unit that doesn't have that. I also, auto-tune is cool, but you're still gonna have to go in there and do stuff. So to me, it's just easier to start from where I wanna start. And yes, this car has 9 channels of equalization, and all 9 channels were EQ'd. So the rears were done individually as opposed to a group, which we'd normally do. They're just Supremo tweeters, man. You just can't just like, hey, you know, so everything got EQ'd individually, left and right. There again, it just depends on the result that you're going for. Not every system has to have, you know, 32 bands of fun and excitement. It's not totally necessary. It just depends on your goals. Can you get your opinion on the Pioneer DMH20? I was able to grab one, but not sure if I should get a higher end one once they come back. I think you know the answer to that question. And we'll just leave it at that. Okay. How do you mount the board under the seat, sandwiched between the seat rails? Yeah, so we'll go with a thin enough piece of plastic that it slides up underneath the seat rails. This one isn't bolted in place yet. Let me grab the light. So as you can see, like, it looks like a normal seat rail, but if we come off to the side, you can kind of see where the bracket goes up underneath it and holds it in place. So sometimes, you know, you'll get these, it just depends how it's laid out, but a lot of times this is the easiest thing to do. Then you just take your bolts and they go back in place, tighten them up, and you don't have anything to worry about. Nope. How did the Sony ES system demo sound? Was it impressive? Yes, it was impressive. I mean, you gotta think, it wasn't like a Brian Mitchell car. It was literally a radio tuned with some speakers and an amp and sub. So it was the most basic system that most people do, where they put a new radio in the dash, a couple set of components, a set of coaxials in the rear, and some subwoofers. It wasn't anything to like, it wasn't like this. You know, it wasn't a competition system. It was designed to be a consumer system. And as a consumer system, it sounded wonderful. And we won't even get to everyone that is so confused about the Toshlink output. You guys are really confused on Toshlink, and it's almost to the point of where, come on guys, figure this stuff out, because the GS9 has a Toshlink output that you do not use. The whole purpose of this is it has this amazing DAC inside of it. The processor inside of it is like, oh my God, awesome for car audio. Which there again, you know, you have these road scholars that are like, have read everything there is, and it's like, okay, compared to everything else that's available, give me a break. Anyways, the purpose you buy that expensive radio for is because you want it to do your decoding for you. You don't want to send it off to another piece that may have a substandard DAC in it and have it do your decoding. The noise issue that people are like, oh, it's so cool to run a fiber optic cable from my source unit to my processor, and I don't have to run RCAs, and I don't have to do all this. Yeah, I get it. That is totally cool. Next level stuff, like Mercedes has been doing it since the 90s. It's awesome. Yes. But that is not what it is used for in this application, and that's why they didn't put it on that radio. But there's just people don't get that, and it's just kind of like, why? Those are the guys that know enough to be dangerous, and it's okay. It's okay. I get it. But no, the Sony system sounded wonderful. I'm really excited to get our hands on one of those at some point and play with it. Having, for one, we have a GS9 to compare it to, so we can A/B between the two and see what it sounds like, and be like, oh my gosh, it sounds fabulous. Or be like, oh no, the GS9 sounds better. We don't know. We'll play with it and find out. But, you know, the fact that you're buying a radio that has six channels of equalization right in the radio, pretty awesome. Clean install. Thank you. All right. Sorry, I'm gonna. Nano doesn't use the Toshlink on his Sony, so he gets the DAC. Correct. Yes, you're correct. The whole purpose of that Sony is to go. It is everything we need, and we're all set. Hey. Yo, your interview, he said the new Sony has the latest DAC from December 2020. Correct. Yes, that is correct. And he also said at the beginning that the GS9 is 5 years old. So the DAC that's in the GS9 is 5 years old. This is 5 years later. Because one of the biggest complaints was like, how come the GS9 is like, what, $1,500, and this is going to be $1,200? This has a screen, this has all. It's 5 years later. It's cheaper now. I mean, it won't be for long because of all the crap that's going on in the world. But, you know, hey, it's nice to dream. Nando's son is here. What's your input? What's your input of the joining the head unit fiber optic? Is there a cheaper head unit than the Sony GS9 with fiber optic out on the market? Yes, actually there is. If you want to do the fiber optic output and you want a radio that's DAC isn't like, oh, incredible, so it actually makes sense to go Toshlink out into a better DAC, like a Helix, like an Audison, like an Audio Control, like a JL, you guys know, ARC, that would be the Stinger High 10. If you want to see that in action, go watch the video we did 2 weeks ago with ARC, or 3 weeks ago, where we had the 2-for-1, where we took, it had Brian Mitchell, if you guys don't know who he is, amazing sounding guy. Anyways, the guy that wins all of this stuff. I made him give me one of his trophies because he had a stack of these. Anyways, I made him give me two. Fernando got one. He has the Sony right here. This is the one.
The Sony?
I'm sorry, he has the Stinger. They both start with S. It's gonna screw me up. He has this, the High 10 in his truck, coming out of that Toshlink in his center console. He has the ARC PS8-50 powering his whole system. So this is how he's run it, because that has a much better DAC than that. So yeah, there you go. It is a floating screen, which is a total bummer because I know some of you guys aren't into that, but hey, it's a fun, nice radio.
Yeah.
Dean, Bad Batch. Dean, Bad Batch is getting a second season. Thank God, because the first season just needed to move it along. And the new line costs less. Yes. What's your thoughts on the Alpine F1? Okay, so the only information we have on the Alpine... I'm sorry, I was looking at my shoe. I thought I had some tape ball on it. The only information that we have on the F1 is the same information that you had. We got that information a little bit early, not much, just a little bit early, thanks to the contacts we had throughout the car stereo world.
Yeah.
I honestly don't have thoughts on it per se, in the sense that, like, sound quality wise, don't have any thoughts there because I haven't heard it, haven't felt it, haven't touched it. Is it going to be something that is relative to most of the people? Probably not. Is it going to be a benchmark? Yeah. I mean, just like they've always been. Is it going to be something we're going to talk about in 6 months? Probably not. I don't see 30 grand really motivating the industry to do much. Are there people that's going to buy it? 100%. I've talked to other dealers about it. And some guys that have that client base are like, I got one sold right now. When can you have it for me? And it's like, okay, you know, they have clients that's what they need. Most of us aren't that person. So why would you build a piece like that then? I think is more the question, because it's kind of a small system. It's $30,000 for a set of tweeters, mid-range, mid-bass, subwoofer, a couple amplifiers, and a really expensive handheld DAC with a DSP, external DSP and whatnot, and a command center. So that's a lot of money for something. Now keep in mind though, because before you start going poo-pooing it, like these Supremo tweeters that he has 2 pairs, that's $2,000 in tweeters in an 07 Honda Civic. Okay, so there are people out there that will buy and have amazing things in their cars. So somebody's gonna end up with it. Somebody's gonna talk about it. It won't be us more than likely because Alpine's not cool like that. But if they give us the opportunity, you know for sure.
Yes.
Now they are building a car, so they're building a Tesla because why not, right? So if it's built and when it's built and we have an opportunity, we will definitely film it and listen to it and report back.
So if you go to the website and you read all the specifications that they have,
it's just
and it's
your head hurts.
insane. Like,
your head
it's
hurts.
like, oh my God, they sell it really well. So hey.
Yeah, I mean, if hey, put the warranty on the side of the box. Thanks for all the content. No problem. Piccolo tweeters all the way. Just installed Morel 3-way Maximal Ultras. Audio control DSP amp sounds absolutely amazing. I know, right? With $30,000, I can build a badass Morel or Audio Frog system. Or a Brax. I mean, we got to Jeff, when Jeff stopped by the other day, he had some Brax pieces with him that were, it's like a $3,000 DSP, and it's a la carte. It's like going to a fine steakhouse, and it looked like a fine steakhouse.
Oh, dude, beautiful.
I like going to a fine steakhouse because they usually have something that's really nice other than steak.
Make an appointment.
How's the sound? This sounds awesome. It sounds awesome. It's cool. I think I want to take 12-hour drive from Maryland so you guys can install. Dude, you're in Maryland. Go see Ada. It's right there. Go see Ada. Go see. I'd just go see Ada.
Yeah.
Rockville, Maryland. And you can use Z2 on the high 10 and get wireless CarPlay. Yes, you can. Somebody had said on the Z2 thing they have nothing for Ford. And I was like, well, what do you need for Ford? If it's got CarPlay already, you just plug it in and you're gone. Yeah. I mean, you don't need anything.
Yeah.
It's wireless. Yeah. If I run 2 LT 1.800s, do I need to run an Epicenter?
I mean, if you need it.
I don't understand the question how it's asked. The Epicenter is a choice. If you would like the effects that an Epicenter does, it doesn't matter how many amplifiers you have. He has a JL 1200.1 with an Epicenter because he wants the Epicenter effect. And it is fun too. Let me tell you what, when I was oh my God, I was just like, ooh, too much. Keep going, too much.
All right, let's go back again.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, before we forget, since you're all are here, tomorrow is Friday. Friday morning, 9 o'clock in the morning is the news, but that's not what the most important thing is. You guys see this banner that's been hanging up here all week. German Maestro, tomorrow night, 6:30 Eastern Standard Time, YouTube. We'll have him here. We're going to interview him. We're pretty excited. So we have German Maestro coming tomorrow night. So for those of you guys who want something to do Friday night, 6:30, tune in. We're going to ask him a bunch of questions. Don't worry, we're still doing the Saturday show, so if you have questions, just save them till Saturday, unless it's relevant to Boston Acoustic. I'm sorry. MB Quartz and German Maestro.
Yeah.
Any recommendations in the New York area? 12-volt marketing group. Go onto Instagram when we're done here and look for 12-volt marketing group. Guy by the name of Frankie. That's his territory. Reach out to him. Tell him, hey, 5-Star told me to reach out to you. I need somebody in the New York area. So 12-volt marketing group. Frankie's the guy. If anyone, he'll know him because the guy's like he's a freaking Energizer bunny. I turn off my truck and back on, and it doesn't let me see videos. Correct. So it depends if it's a Pioneer or an Alpine and how the emergency brake has to work. If it is a Sony, a JVC, a Kenwood, a high 10, those radios, it's just ground the emergency brake. If it's something, meaning when, but if it's like an Alpine or a Pioneer, they need an on-off-on feature done. So if that's what the problem is, their micro bypass is your answer. That is micro bypass. Do you know anyone in the Atlanta area that do your caliber of work? Yes. Markland. This guy, Markland. You can find him here on Instagram. Also, Traffic Jams.
Traffic Jams, still crazy work. Yep.
Traffic Jams is up there also. Our friend Biscuit that is building the Super Box is over there. They're about an hour outside of Atlanta, but I think Markland. It's this guy. Is it this guy Markland or the guy Markland?
The guy Markland.
Yeah. Anyways, he's up there, does amazing work.
Oh, just search Markland Designs.
Markland Designs.
The cases are almost ready. Ooh. Man. In a few weeks I'm gonna see you.
Is it Pioneer? It's a Pioneer. Pioneer needs a micro bypass. We have a bunch of videos on it from previous. It's always been the same.
Micro bypass.
It needs an on every time the ignition turns off. So the emergency brake has to disconnect itself, reattach, disconnect, and reattach. Right. Ooh, what happened? How to wire aftermarket head unit with stock amp. Also aftermarket amps. Head unit only has 2 pair outputs. Okay, so depends on the car, but there are harnesses that you'll need to get into. If it only has 1 set of RC outputs, you might want to look into like a better radio for one. But if you want the radio, check out something like a Matrix from Audio Control. That'll allow you to get multiple outputs, or just go directly into a DSP. But metraonline.com, pack-audio.com, or idatalink.com are the sites you go to find all those cool parts. All right. Audio tasks. All right, hold on. What do we got? I was trying to get to the Rockford question here. Rockford Fosgate T 644 feeds from a DSR1 going to a Power T 6.5 mids and tweaks. Should I still use the passive crossovers in biamp, or just do it all in the DSR1? Personally, if I'm putting a 604 to those speakers, I'm not using the passive crossovers. So if I'm going full 4-channel into a set of speakers and I'm putting a DSP in front of it, meaning channel 1 and 2 in tweeters, 3 and 4 mid bass, I'm using the DSP's crossover. It's way better than the passive crossovers that I have to play with. That's it. That's all I'm doing. And I'm happy with it. What's their install? This is a Civic that we've been working on. Hold on. Dallas area. Oscar, that's on here.
Yeah.
Just look for Oscar. He keeps popping up. I must be connecting the micro bypass wrong then, because I need to connect and disconnect the green cable.
All right.
I mean,
the
it's
green
3 wires.
cable goes to the parking brake at the Pioneer. The blue one goes to the
Remote turn
on the radio and to the ground of the car. And
no, the black, not the black goes to ground.
And the black goes to ground. Boom. Done.
I used the key lock on a bass audio Harley with AC. Sounded great. Well, of course, it did the EQs. Worthy installer tuner near Destin, Florida. Honestly, I have no idea. I never get up that way. Although Destin seems to be the vacation spot for sure. How's the Civic going? Civic is done. We're done. That's why we came on, just to point out that we're done. Just to kind of go over it real quick for those of you that have tuned in later. Fernando added in it has 0 gauge. So previously, these screw holes here were for the, you can even see the dirt spot still. We made our own mount, so it's not attached to the cold air intake. Looking nice and clean back there. Moving to the back of the car. This is the subwoofer enclosure. We have to peel off. We're waiting because we have to put this board and that piece of carpet in. This is the amplifier rack. We have a JL Audio 1201 powering the subwoofers. These are 6s. I will give JL Audio, like, they thought out every stupid mistake that people could make on their subwoofers. This is a work of art, guys. Kudos to the W6. 1200.1, 600.4, 600.4, Audison, big fused distribution block, battery in the corner, shirking, fuse for this, so this comes out of here, comes down to this distribution block. This is from the battery up underneath the hood. Ground is in the back as well. Ground for the amplifiers is located here. 0 gauge to the 1200, 4 gauge, RCA's all down the passenger side, power down the driver's, old school style, keeping it nice, clean, and simple. Bass wire, bass knob wire. That's the bass knob wire because it's not going to be long enough to put it where we want. Epicenter, Helix DSP, located here up underneath the seat. So we got the Helix, we got the Epicenter, and we have an Alpine radio in the dash. We have Supremo, so it's all Morel speakers. We have the Supremo tweeters mounted over here in the corners. We have Supremo tweeters that he had mounted in the back. There again, these tweeters were already in place. All we did was rewire everything. and we added some Elate 6.5-inch mid bases to the door, some hybrid 6.5s to the rear, and that is the system, and it's all tuned up and living the Vida Loca. Best shallow 12-inch saw. Best is such a hard word. There's a ton of great shallow mount 12s. As we talked about the ARC video, Brian has the new ARC shallow subs in his Chevy GMC truck. They sounded great. Oh my God, they sounded awesome. They do make an older version that's more expensive. These are, I guess, the more reasonably priced ones. Of course, my favorite classic, Comp RTs, big fan. The L7Ts. Like if you got the room, you got the knowledge to build your own box, definitely can't go wrong with the L7Ts as far as loud goes. And of course you have Rockford. If you're gonna go Rockford, the T1 shallows are really just where you wanna stay. The P3s are okay, but the T1s are where it's at. What would cause my system to progressively get lower the longer I play it?
Lower the longer you play.
I mean, in reality, okay, common sense on this one is really the only way I can approach it. If the battery voltage is going down, then the power output for the amplifiers is going to decrease. So I feel that would be the only way that could happen is I'd put a voltmeter in the car and probably just leave it there and have it hooked up. And as you're driving, keep an eye on it, see where your battery voltage is. That would be where I would start. If a speaker is 102 dBs of sensitivity and it's rated at 250 watts, would putting 125 watts to it still make it loud? That'd be a tweeter. So that's a baloney rating. It will never handle 250 watts. The reason why they say 250 watts is because you can put a rather large amplifier on it. Think about it like this. Do you own a subwoofer? And if you do, walk back, look at the subwoofer's tinsel leads, meaning the cool little things that, you know, when you put the speaker on and you have the leads that go into the center. Look at the size of those, all right? Now, look at the size on your tweeter. You probably floss your teeth, if you floss your teeth, with something that's thicker than the leads going into the speaker. Now, your subwoofer, unless you have a giant subwoofer, is rated to handle about 500 watts, 600 watts. So you think, okay, half that size would be the tinsel leads it would need to handle 250 watts. Well, there's no way that the leads going into a tweeter are half that size. They're microscopic. There's a power roll-off that actually happens in sound. If you're looking at the frequencies of a tweeter and what it's supposed to play, so start like 3200 hertz and then go up all the way to 20,000 hertz, what you'll see is that the voltage drastically drops off. Plus, sound rolls off as well. So, you really are only getting at max maybe 5 watts to those tweeters. But the point is, it's 105 dBs, 102 dBs of sensitivity. But dude, you can put 25 watts to those and you'll be deaf. Okay, you don't need anything. You're going to be like, oh my God, these are stupid loud. My head unit backup camera does not turn on when the polarity is on battery. It works with ground, but the screen is black on the ground setting. And it's not working. I don't know, that's a tough one. Backup cameras are always the crazy questions. What head unit is in the Morel Honda there? It's an Alpine, and I have no idea other than it's an Alpine. Are you familiar with the MyRig ERE MyGig? No, I have not. What was the name of the Morel Bluetooth speakers I want to order a pair? Hagtalars. It's called a Hagtalar. All you have to do is say, hey, I want the cool, you know, when you talk to Natasha, say, hey, I want the cool Bluetooth speaker, and she'll, you know, hook you up. But yes, it's a Hagtalar. They'll probably have them at, I think they're going to have one at Dallas. I think they said they were. Can we hear the Honda? Do you have the playlist of, do you have your phone?
No.
No, I mean, go into iTunes.
No, he has it.
Oh, he has his phone? Oh, no. His son Sebastian has his phone, so, and my phone is doing this. Sorry. Next time, bro. Oh, try the guys at Best Buy in Florida. Destin, Florida. Okay, that's a possibility. Are you closer to Destin or Atlanta? Oh, if you're close to Atlanta, you can just, traffic jams still be the way to go. All right, hold on. No ZZ2 for Kia. There again, Bobby, if the car has wireless or wired CarPlay already, then you just plug it in and it'll just work. Why do you say that about the W6? Well, because I obviously I'd want to pull it out of the box and just kind of go over the features that are unique to this woofer. But they've thought it through very well on, for one, idiot-proofing it, and two, just common sense mistakes that most subwoofer manufacturers make. And all right, we'll go over a few of them. First off, they have a ton of screw mounts, which is awesome because the standard crisscross 8, this, which is what the screws are, is plastics. It means it can come out. Because most people bend and break things, the breakable part can be replaced. So that's kind of nice. The speaker leads are all on one side and they're on the top, not on the bottom. And why that's important is this is a heavy woofer. Once you pull this last screw out, anyone who's ever unscrewed a heavy woofer, the first thing that happens, the woofer goes boom, like this. If the tinsel leads are located here, they smack onto the end of the box and chances are good you're going to bend them or break them off. By putting them on the top, you don't have that problem. The other thing too is they have 2 push terminals located here. It's a dual voice coil, and all 4 of the voice coils are wired up outside of that connection. So you still have a nice easy connection and you don't have to hook up 8 wires or 4 wires to the back of the driver. So they make it super simple. It's just little things like that that make it like, oh yeah, we actually thought about this. So it's kind of cool. That's a $1,000 battery charger. Says you, yeah. You know. Awesome work as usual. That's the only, by the way, Oscar, that is the only Snap-on thing I own, unlike yourself. That's it, because somebody told me that was the best one, so. Clean and nice always. All right, so. I'm in Houston, I'm used to it. What's the max amps you can put into a high-level amp input, head unit plus JBL DSP going to Rockford P3? So you have to check the amplifier, but most amplifiers tap out at 10 volts, which is actually quite a bit. Some of the better amplifiers like Rockford and whatnot, like Audio Control, will tap out at 40 volts. So some of them now go up to 12 and 15 volts. It just depends, but usually you can see input voltage as one of the inputs. There's usually 2 input voltage ratings. One is like from 0.5 volt to 5 volts, and the other one is from like 1 volt to 10 or whatever that maximum voltage is going to be. So you'd want to check that out. Sony is pretty much a DSR1 and radio. Yeah, it's pretty close to DSR1. Yeah, you're right. Without the extra set of RCAs. Yeah, which is how most of the DSR1s get used. So that's why I said I'm pretty excited about the Sony. All right, tomorrow at 6:30 Eastern Standard Time on YouTube, here, 5 Star Car Stereo, we'll have the German Maestro guys. We're super excited to have them here. That's tomorrow at 6:30. Tonight over on Hi-Fi Vega Network, we have Reverse Polarity. We have an awesome topic tonight. We're going to talk about collecting car audio. Does it make sense anymore? Meaning, if you're a guy like me, I have that didn't flip. I have an old 225 HCCA. I have the shell of a 280GX. I have my Beast that someone sent me. Thank you very much. You're the best. And these are just heat sinks. That's an actual functioning amplifier that'll never get used. I have my Macintosh with the most awesome story ever over there. But I also have some of my newer amps. Like I have the Zen 9. I have this, which I really like. I have the Beta 3K. Obviously the 2400. That's going to be discontinued at some point. I have a Q-Class 1005. That is gone. Are those amplifiers worth saving? Are they worth collecting? We're going to talk about that tonight. Yes, and I have a Prima. So make sure you tune in tonight. I can't wait I have opinions on this, as you can only imagine. So that'll be fun. And then, of course, after that, if you're still in the mood for more talk, Why did you move the Warhorse? Hold on. If you're still in the mood to talk, then head over to SideJag, where we're going to talk about the movie Project X that we had to watch this week, and of course get my opinion on that, as well as Hi-Fi Vegas. Yeah, so we moved the Warhorse, and there's another one. Of course, you know, let's be honest, who, like, anyone would kick that out of bed. We moved the Warhorse up to there for one because it was just, it's big, and it was in every shot. Every video we took, it was always right there, which is cool. However, we have sponsors that pay us a very small amount to be on the wall. Okay, like audio control. Audio control pays for this spot. Okay, iData does not pay for the spot. However, we worked out a deal with them to where that's why they're there. It also just made it convenient for us to talk about the product. So the Warhorse was taking up a lot of real estate. This banner is not going to stay. We've only had it up because they're coming in. So we needed the space for one. Two, I wanted to put it up higher so that when someone is staring out this window, that this window, and which no one will do because of COVID, that they can see the giant amp on the wall and be like, oh wow, what is that? Plus putting it up higher gives it that like allure of like, ooh, I can't touch it. But let me tell you what, getting it up there though, that was a pain in the ass. The thing weighs like 80 pounds. It's nuts. So that's why it went there. Elias, what's up? So anyways, we got a bunch of stuff coming up in the next couple days, so make sure you tune into that. I think Gabby's here to pick up Junior. And we also find, so it gets better. All right, before we go, I got one more thing to plug. The 21st, which is a Saturday, 2 weeks from now, we're gonna have Seth Hostetter again on from Kenwood, JVC Kenwood, with no agenda. All right, so we're just questions. We've been promising a Q&A show for Kenwood JVC forever. Fernando's going, he's got to leave early that day, so Seth has agreed to fill in for him. So we get, on the 21st, we get to do a Q&A show. That same week, right now, we are working out another guest that same week on the 17th. That won't interfere with Kicker, so don't worry about that. It'll be early. But so we have the potential, we have one for sure. We're gonna have which we'll talk about more next week after the German Maestro's gone. We'll tell you all about. But for those of you guys who are still here, Seth's gonna be on. We're gonna talk about that, and then we may have another guest coming in on the 17th. We're not sure yet, but I think we're about 90% there. So you guys will love it. It's gonna be awesome as always. More Q&A, more fun and excitement. I know you guys like these midweek shows where you get cool guests on. I'm excited to just finally have people in the install bay as guests, so that's pretty cool. And we do have an announcement, hopefully on the 16th. So, whew, this month is cruising by. Plus, you have Knowledge Fest. We leave on the 26th. Oh my gosh, Lions and Tigers and Bears on mine. All right, guys. Well, that's it. We got a lot of fun stuff happening. Make sure to tune in to Hi-Fi Vegas channel tonight, and then tune in tomorrow night when we talk to German Maestro. I'm really excited about this one because it's a story that I don't really know. And I know that means a lot of other people don't too, so we get to find out what's the deal with German Maestro, the MB Quartz connection, and all that other fun stuff. So you guys tune in tomorrow, and that's it. We'll see you soon. Bye.